And we call these target sticks. Pika here has been trained to recognize these target sticks and will present a variety of different body parts and move around in different positions depending on what we ask her to do with these sticks. So you'll see she'll come forward and touch the front of her face. She'll also swing her back hand around, all because Allison is asking her to do this with these two target sticks. And you may have also noticed that when she performs these behaviors correctly, Allison blows a whistle. Now that whistle indicates to Pika that she's performed the correct behavior and that a food reward is soon to come. So it's a very valuable tool for us trainers, because it allows us to communicate very clearly with our elephants, let them know that they're on the right track and that food reward is soon to come. You'll also notice that she has a pouch full of all sorts of treats around her waist that Pika is getting as a reward for participating in this training session.
See how he's eating through his snout?
The first thing that we'll ask Allison
He pushes him into his mouth.
His trunk.
is step into a lean-in position. Now in this position, Pika will be standing parallel to these bars. And it's a very beneficial position for us keepers to be able to get the elephants into, because it allows a second keeper, such as myself, to be able to come up and inspect our elephants.
Lift me up, Daddy. Give Mama your camera.
We can take a close look every day.
Give Mama
Just
your
make sure that there's
camera.
no lumps, bumps, bruises, anything out of the ordinary. Just make sure that they're in good physical condition. And again, like I said, this is something that we'll do every single day. Now Allison will ask her to step back in that position, facing the opposite direction. And while she's in this position, it also gives you guys a great opportunity to see how large of an animal Pika is. Just as a reference point, the tops of these bars are 8 feet off the ground. So you can see Pika is well over the 8-foot mark. She's actually about 9 feet tall. And she weighs just shy of 8,000 pounds.
Wow.
Now that's a pretty typical size for a female African elephant. The males will get a fair bit bigger though. The males will usually reach heights of anywhere from 11 to 13 feet, and they'll usually weigh around 11 to 12,000 pounds. The largest one on record was 13 feet tall, weighing 23,000 pounds. So Pika here isn't even 8,000 pounds. You can imagine how large a 23,000 pound male elephant is today. These guys are the largest terrestrial animals on this planet. Now, besides an elephant's size, there's several things about them that make them very unique and very distinct animals. One of the more obvious ones would be their very large ears. Now, one of the best ways to tell apart an African elephant from an Asian elephant is by looking at those ears. The ears on the African elephant will be much larger. They're actually kind of shaped similar to the continent of Africa as well, which is another handy trick in telling apart the two species.
There's more elephants in the back there.
Now, elephants will use their ears for a number of things. They'll obviously use them for hearing, like we would. They'll also use their ears for communicating with other elephants. But the main reason that the ears are as large as they are
Lucas.
is because it helps keep them cool when it gets really warm out. And the way they'll use their ears to keep cool is they've got an intricate series of veins and arteries running through them. You can kind of see on the back of her ear
Veins
now.
on the back of his ear.
So on a really hot day, when she's got all that warm blood in her body, she can redirect a lot of it out to those ears. She can wave them back and forth, and this does an excellent job cooling that blood off. It can then be redirected back through her body and does an excellent job reducing her core temperature. Elephants don't sweat like we do, so they rely on these veins and arteries in order to cool off that blood so they can stay cool in that hot sun. Now another very unique feature about elephants that you might not realize at first is their feet. As I said, Pika here weighs close to 8,000 pounds. So these feet are very specially designed in order to absorb all of that weight. As you might imagine, it's very beneficial to us keepers to be able to inspect our elephants' feet very closely. And again, this is something that we'll do every day with our elephants. We'll ask them to present their feet on one of these bars so we can take a very close look at them. And while their foot's up in this position, we can wash their feet, we can trim their nails if necessary, we can trim the pad on the bottom of their foot, and most importantly, we can take a very close look and make sure that there's no sharp rocks or pebbles that may have become embedded in the pad of that foot that may cause them any discomfort. And if there is, we can take those out. Now, if you were to see the skeleton of an elephant, you'd see that they're actually standing up on their toes. And that most of this foot that you see in front of you is made up of a large fleshy pad that's located behind the bones. And that's there to absorb all this weight. And it's so efficient at doing that, when Pika steps down and is standing on all four of her feet, she'll actually be putting less weight per square inch on her feet than you or I would put on ours. And actually, when she puts her foot down, you'll see that foot expand a bit under her weight. It's just that pad doing its job. Now, perhaps the most distinct feature about elephants will be their trunk. An elephant can use their trunk for a number of things. An elephant isn't capable of bending its head all the way down to the ground, so it relies on this trunk in order to interact with its environment. Now, an elephant's trunk is actually a fusion of its nose and its upper lip. Like I said, it'll use it for picking up a variety of objects off the ground. It'll even use it for drinking water. You'll see that at the
Those are
end,
weird, eh?
at the tip of Pinka's trunk here, she's got two prehensile tips, two finger-like tips. She'll use those for picking up small objects off the ground, such as food. Now, these two tips are so dexterous that she could use them to pick a single blade of grass. She could pick up something as small as a dime off a piece of concrete. But her trunk is also so strong that she could use it to lift up the front end of a car. So it kind of gives you an idea of the range and versatility of this adaptation, and how useful it would be for an animal that can't even bend its head all the way down to the ground. Now, an elephant's tusks are also very distinct and unique features to elephants. African elephants, you'll see both the males and the females will have tusks. With Asian elephants, it's only the males that have them. Now, their tusks are actually their incisor teeth. And these teeth will continue to grow at a rate of about 6 to 8 inches per year. Now, you'll notice that all three of our elephants have a variety of different lengths of tusks, and that's because elephants will wear down their tusks on various objects within the exhibit within the house, such as rocks, and they'll keep them at a length that they seem to prefer. It's kind of like us with their fingernails. Everybody has different preferences, and our elephants have preferences for how long they prefer to keep their tusks. Now, Pika here is kind of more medium length. Ringo has very short ones. Toka has longer ones. Now, elephants do have another type of tooth located in the back of the mouth. They have molars. And their molars serve a very similar function to that.